Virtus Pro do get something nice from this, but there's the no fun.
Crazy got caught out there. His invis just like wore off, and that set up the whole thing for them. I'm surprised he didn't notice the debuff, but after the Naga Sleep with a Song of the Siren setup, the Invoker just cleaned up. And here's the beautiful, beautiful Sunstrike from Ice Ice Ice. What a player. What a player.
Yeah, it was really nice to see the Invoker just in the game, and it did create a lot of chaos and room. And Invoker versus Anti-Mage can be pretty good as well. But
they had so much lockdown for him. There's one sheep into a net and then another sheep. There's nothing that he can do if he's not farmed. He only had Battle Fury and Manta Style as well as the Mithril Hammer, not even that close to his BKB, but it was just too much for him to handle.
Yeah, he really needed his BKB, but I think, does Nets go through BKB?
Yes.
Yeah, so even then, just being in a still position when you're up against Yamate, who's got a pretty good amount of damage with the Butterfly, you probably wouldn't have won. I felt like he needed a BKB plus like a Basher to be able to actually
the thing is,
take
he
the
bought
late
back
team
twice,
fight.
so he lost all of his gold.
True. So what else stood out for you guys?
I mean, again, the favorites take it down. So thus far, we haven't seen any upsets. Every single higher seed has beaten the lower seed.
Well, the Invoker pick obviously stood out.
What?
The Invoker pick obviously
Yeah, the Invoker pick was amazing. This is one of the only few picks that wasn't so far in the tournament. There are 15 more, but before going there, I want to say that I actually know the reason why VP lost. I said that they needed ice with their vodka to actually work, but they had so much ice in ice and ice that there was no vodka enough. So they just, no alcohol, hard to win.
It was just all about ice. And speaking of ice, we're going to go to an interview. And Casey, I can now confirm to you the person you stood next to is really Ice Ice Ice.
Where was that a couple hours ago? Ice 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 is indeed standing next to me, and he will speak to me this time, I understand. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks.
Okay, this was the first time I've ever seen Invoker in a game. So there were meatballs, there were sunstrikes. I didn't even know where to look. Tell me what it's like to play that for you.
It's fun.
It is? Why? What makes it fun?
Because I get the win.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How did you feel tonight?
Horrible.
Why?
Because I didn't play well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it anything that you ate earlier? Anything?
No, I didn't play well.
No?
Yeah.
So how, when you're in that position and you're in the booth and you're not playing well, how do you overcome that? Are you worried about it? Are you thinking ahead? Or are you just trying to calm yourself?
Try to hope, and I try to hope that my teammates will play well.
Yeah.
So that they can cover my ass.
They did?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So looking ahead to IG, what are your thoughts?
Well, I hope to knock them out, but yeah, that's gonna be a very tough game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling about the tournament so far? What has been the highlight for you?
Having a diarrhea every single day.
What was that?
Having a diarrhea every single day.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely. I'm going to send it back to James. Thank you again.
I just want to confirm, he said he has a diary every single day, and he writes in his diary how he's feeling. It's just, you know, he's going to publish that. It's going to be an amazing read. Certainly, it's not going to be shit, certainly. It'll be a good read. All right, then. So Zenith are going to go up against Invictus Gaming. I feel that Zenith, pretty aggressive, pretty creative how they play. But Invictus Gaming, they can take advantage of you pretty quickly if you overstep the line. How's Zenith's chances in this game? This is going to be the last game of the day, but what do you make of Zenith?
I think their playstyle is like cutting edge enough so that it could possibly take IG by surprise. We see like Timbersaw mid, we saw Invoker, we saw Razor, and IG doesn't seem like they're the best at adapting. They adapt rather slowly. I did see Ferrari play a fantastic Shadow Fiend the other day, so I think if they maybe force Zenith to adapt to them, I think that maybe they can take it home.
I definitely expect IG to come out on top. Zenith, though, picking stuff like Invoker and just trying to mix up their picks so the opponent can really expect a strategy from them seems the way to go. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ice 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 pulls off something really crazy against them.
Yeah, well, it's also a best of one. And what have Invictus Gaming learned about Zenith that game?
Well,
I don't think it relates
I'm going
to
to jump in
anything.
there and say that, of course, Ice Ice Ice, Yamate, even KYXY, very strong solo players, very strong in most positions. They rotate a lot. All three can play 1, 2, and 3. But it has to go also with the support play. I want to just point out that Ice, not Ice Ice Ice, just Ice, was amazing this game. I mean, if you put him, he was playing the 4 position, he was playing Visage. And if you match it with what NS was doing in the Chen, his stats were amazing. He was there every single time. If you look, 6 kills, just 1 death. The 1 death was at the end where they were diving. He was 6-0-7 by the time everything was ending. And when you have a Visage dominating that match, it means that you had such a good early game, you had such a good control. It all came to the having the good tri lane, having the good also rotation of the supports. And if there's something that can stop IG, it's just disrupting what Ferrari, what Joe, even YYF can do. They have to watch out for those supports because it's not only about the 3 solos. The support players from Zenith can carry a strong punch as well.
The Naga Siren was also really strong too. She just set up extremely well with the net, either into a Sunstrike, either into Visage familiar stuns, and sometimes a Darkseer Surge her in. She was very, very under-leveled, only level 5 I think at 16 minutes, which is a little bit scary, but she really pulled through with them, especially with the Song of the Siren. I haven't seen Naga use that effectively as a support in a while.
And also Virtus Pro's Clockwork really helped out with the Sunstrikes from...
Easy mode Sunstrike.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you have a Clockwork game, it's quite hard to be like, okay, which item do I need? And it's like, if you see an Invoker, you're like, 4 stats.
He had 3 bracers though. That's a lot of bracers.
I didn't remember the final items. Oh, there it is. It was KSI. Yeah, no 4 staff.
He's a Blade Mail.
Yeah,
Blade Mail would have helped.
Definitely.
Anything but braces. They help.
Too many bracers, too few arms.
That's why I tell anybody who's new to the game when they play with me what they should buy when they have excess money. I'm like, just get braces. just keep buying them.
Some good allies you got.
Yeah.
I think Visage though is really the standout hero of the tournament. In the after we came to Battle Royale Hall, how many games has it won and how many games has it actually lost? Because every time I see it being played, it wins.
Actually, I haven't checked on the main tournament. I'll get back to you on that. But he was playing about 61 games before that. And it has to be around 6 or 7 at least of all the games right now. So it's going to be pretty impressive. You just keep talking and I'll get back the number at you because I have to search.
What do you think is the overarching kind of strengths of Visage? Because for me, I just find that a lot of teams don't seem to want to get a kill onto Visage in a big team fight. They seem to not value it as high as obviously the carry. And if you are to go onto Visage, he has a huge amount of magic resistance. And pretty decent physical. Like people mainly get a medallion pretty early on to be able to assist with the Roshan kills. But is he too hard to kill in a team fight, or
I'm
because
actually
he
not
does so
entirely
much
sure why
damage?
they don't focus him. I think the game yesterday between Orange and Na'Vi proved it best that Extinct on the Visage, if you don't kill him, he's just gonna deal tons of damage with Soul Assumption. And like you were saying, Medallion of Courage plays a huge role early on. And then there's the birds. The birds are so good to just control the fight.
Especially if no tail is controlling them when Fly is playing.
Especially if there's put a lot of micromanagement into it.
The micromanagement always helps. But yeah, it's 3-3 right now, 6 games with Visage. He's not doing amazingly well, but he certainly is one hero that you want in your team. And about why you don't kill him or why don't you focus him immediately, remember that his passive makes him deceptively tanky as well.
Yeah.
He has lots of armor, and if you go straight into, let's say, a spell like Laguna Blade before burning the charges, you will do just maybe 100-150 damage, and you don't want that.
All right, yeah, that seems to be the case. I mean, in my opinion, Visage is just offering a lot, and I'd like to know some information on just how involved in terms of assists and kills Visage has been in the tournament, because it seems like it's the support that's constantly there. So going into the lower bracket, we can now see our next 2 games, and our final 2 games today will, of course, be Team Liquid versus LGD China. I guess a lot of people, if you saw this, you'd think it might be LGD Inc, because it's LGD China. Last year, they were amazing. Now they're in the lower bracket of round 2, going up against Team Liquid, and later we have Zenith versus Invictus Gaming.
So I think both of these are very interesting matches because Team Liquid and Zenith, I think they're very, very strong in a best of 1, probably stronger in the best of 3, and I think that they have more flexibility, variability, and variability, and just more creativeness in general. And I think that they can just surprise them. We saw the Ursa Wisp from Team Liquid. We saw the Invoker pick. There's no reason to believe that they won't do something special for these 2.
Since my streak is now broken, I'm actually not afraid of putting my money on Team Liquid for this game. They're coming off with huge self-confidence after their series against MUFC with 30 kills and only 3 deaths, whereas LGD was knocked into the loser bracket, probably not as high and mighty right now as Liquid, and Liquid has had a long time to prepare for this team. They've known for, what, 3 days now?
I mean, Liquid have the crowd behind them. They have the kind of ability to say, we maybe shouldn't win this, but we know we can, so we're going to come up with something special. So it's really all about, I feel, what LGD are going to do in terms of on defense. And speaking of LGD, that's where we're going now.
Yeah, guys, with Zhao 8 with LGD, and our translator Josh is going to help us once again. And I want to take us back to earlier this morning. And can you talk a little bit about what happened with Alliance?
他说就说一下之前打 Alliance 的想法吧。
我们就是在中期有一些团战和执行力上面做得不够好，所以我们输掉了比赛。
He says pretty much it was just in the mid game they didn't execute well in terms of team fights, and so they ended up losing.
How important is teamwork? Obviously, it's important in general for all of the teams, but I noticed in what I've been watching on your particular team, you guys are all really close friends. You live together, you work together. How important is that closeness for your success?
然后问对你们来说，作为一个队伍，团结肯定是很重要，但是你们是不是就是一起磨合的很好是特别重要的？
这个肯定是一个强队必须的。然后主要就是还是最近我们的状态不好吧，我们调整过来可以战胜他们的。
So he says, of course, for any top tier team, if you want to be the best, then that's super important. But mainly it's the fact that they just haven't been in good form recently. But he thinks that they'll be able to make the right adjustments, and yeah.
What's the main focus going up against Liquid?
你们下一场打Liquid 主要是有什么重点？
觉得他们是一支美国本土的很强大的一支队伍，所以我们会研究他们一些就是录像和打法，我们然后主要是还调整好自己的状态，好好的去赢掉他们。
所以说把自己状态调整好就有信心。
对。
So he says mainly they just want to take a look at their play styles and whatnot. They're aware that Liquid is playing on home turf, so that's something to be aware of. But they think that as long as they are able to adjust their own performance and play to their own strengths, then they should be able to take it.
LGD Xiao8, thank you very much. Best of luck, and Josh, thank you again.
I love Josh. So here we are then, LGD China. Of course, this is the team that will have to go up against Team Liquid, who are on their home turf. It's Yao, Zhao8, DDC, Sylar, and DD. They don't want to be in the lower bracket. They only just got there because of a defeat against DK 2-1. I just said that wrong. I think they lost to Alliance, sorry. But either way, we'll see how they come out in this match. And I think they just have to be as solid as they can be and play to their strengths. If they do that, they could take this. But otherwise, let's be their opponents. It is the guys on home soil. It's Team Liquid.
I'm with TC of Liquid right now. Wanted to chat with you ahead of your next meetup with LGD. What are your thoughts heading in?
I think we can beat them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a good start. So I know you think you can beat them. Do you think that you have an advantage coming off of a win versus LGD coming off of a loss?
I think so, definitely. Like mentally, especially like for our last game, it was relatively pretty one-sided, so I think you can sort of keep that momentum going into the next game.
Do you ever battle nerves once you're in the pod, or when you get in there, are you able to kind of focus and get business done?
Sometimes there's a bit of nerves if it's like the first game in like a few days, but after that it's usually pretty good.
All right, TC, thank you very much. Best of luck to you. We look forward to seeing what happens.
Thanks.
Okay then, so there we have it. We won't introduce the players. You guys know them at home. They're the boys in blue, and they're going up against LGD. So best of luck to both teams. Hope you enjoy the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's now time for Team Liquid versus LGD Gaming. Best of one, loser eliminated, winner in the top 8 and in the money. I'm LD, and I'm joined here by Luminous.
Very, very smart opening draft from Team Liquid. A lot of teams like to favor OD on the mid lane, and the obvious counter is Razor. It seems like a lot of teams have picked that one up as well. They say, let's pick up the Razor first. You can have the OD if you want it, but we'll counter you that way.
Yeah, obviously Naga Siren's also pretty nice here for LGD Gaming. If Liquid wanted to go for Ursa. We've seen some Fuzzy Wuzzy from them. They're on the dire side. So if they want to go Ursa, this Naga pick may deter them. They also get an early Nature's Prophet. It is a best of one. Liquid so far, though, it's looking pretty standard from them.
Right. I mean, I feel like personally LGD China is perhaps the better team if all things are equal. I mean, they said they were not in good form, and they just went toe-to-toe against probably the tournament favorite Alliance. So I think Team Liquid got to toss something up in the air. They got to spice things up, because if you play a standard game against LG China, I'm not sure whether they'll take it from them. Yeah, so Liquid now will ban out a Spectre. They'll remove one of the most annoying late game carries. We'll see where LGD takes their strategy from here. Prophet the second pick. It's one of Xiaohui's strongest heroes. We've seen Yao pretty much going mid every game, so I think we'll continue to see that now, and I think it's where LGD are most comfortable. Xiaohui into the off lane or into the jungle, you put Yao mid, and then that leaves Sylar in the defensive tri lane. If you're Liquid, you know that's how they like to play, and you know it's coming. Now both teams, or actually I think Team Liquid in particular, has been using Treant Protector quite a bit. I feel like that will allow them to actually go a little bit on the offensive early on. Razor plus Treant Protector, a pretty good combo to dive, or just make sure you could dive long enough to make your link go on. I think that's a hero that I'm looking forward to for Team Liquid to pick it. But for now, they will take up a Bane Elemental. Very strong partner for the Razor. Yep. You sleep someone, you prep the static link, you're stealing a lot of damage, and then you look to go. What they don't really have is that follow-up stun. So maybe something like a Lina or a Leshrac, even a Jakiro could be next. They could still go for the tree if they wanted, but they are a bit locking in the early game lockdown. We'll see where they go from here. As for LGD, it looks like Liquid really wanted to ban out Sylar. We know LGD is a team that often loses the laning stage, but usually finds a way late game. Liquid do not want them to have the late game edge. I mean, LG right now is picking up some of the bread and butter heroes. Nature's Prophet on Xiaohui, Magnus being played by Yao. I feel like Sylar has such a wide hero pool that it's impossible to ban him out, but Team USA is having the home crowd behind them. I think a lot of times Team Weakness, one of their greatest weakness is their inconsistency in their draft. Sometimes they have a marvelous strategy, and sometimes they have lanes and draft that don't make too much sense. Hopefully for Team Liquid, they can find a very good draft. Yeah, LGD, they're going to stick with their bread and butter here, with what's worked for them for the most part thus far. They'll go back for the Yao Mag now, so they've got a very strong 5-man composition, Naga Siren as well as Mag already, and now you've got the split push from the Prophet too. So they've got multiple ways to attack this game. We still don't know what Sylar's going to play. That's the biggest question. Liquid, more aggression, going for a CM. Their laning stage is now very scary. I mentioned tri-laning the Razor, but it could very well be a Razor mid as well. And either direction they want to go, it's a very scary tri-lane. It's scary for the enemy team, but also scary for themselves, because you're picking up heroes like Razor and Crystal Maiden. So if you don't win that offensive tri-lane hard enough, you're in huge trouble, because mid-game wise, Razor without farm, Crystal Maiden without a huge level of advantage over the enemy supports is not going to do a single damn thing. Alchemist, here we go. It's a Sylar's hero. They did ban out the Spectre, the anti-mage, probably the scariest late game carries for LGD to get. We don't really see them go for Coddle PL too often. Alk, however, has been the one they've chosen to turn to. We've seen them actually first pick it against the Alliance, so Liquid let it slip through. LGD say this is exactly the kind of draft we're comfortable with. Yeah. Liquid, however, they know how LGD likes to play. Everyone does. LGD is not a team that surprises you in the draft. You know what's coming. Can you stop it? In fact, I mean, you know LG is going to lose the early game. You count that in as well. But what they're really strong at is defending their tier 2 towers, defending the high ground. And of course, we've seen it many times today, but in power on Alchemist farm, it takes you well into the late game. Yeah, LGD also now have a tri-lane that gets pretty tanky. Naga's very tanky early on. We've seen that support Naga buying a poor man shield, being pulled regen. You can't really go on him. You're probably not going to kill him. The Alchemist has low base armor, but pretty decent HP. So we'll see if they can kill Sylar. Then we still don't know what that secondary support is on the tri-lane. That's probably the easiest hero to kill. Liquid banning out probably the strongest remaining defensive support in a Shadow Demon. And LGD, worried about the Tri-Core, will remove the Lifestealer. I'm surprised the Lifestealer was unchecked till now, right? So that was a little bit interesting for me. But LG Gaming should pick up a very defensive support. Team Liquid wants to go offensive. You know they want to go offensive, especially with that Shadow Demon ban. So a defensive support maybe in a Jakiro. So what is that hero? Is it a Rubik? Jakiro, perhaps. Rubik's not bad either. Rubik perhaps a little bit weaker because he's very squishy. You have to get fairly close to actually get that defensive spell. I like to say Earthshaker, but you're dealing with a lot of melee supports, and I don't think you could do that either. Yeah, tri-lane with melees and having a mag just makes your team very awkward. Fissure can even work against you. I think Jakiro is the way to go here. And it's going to be a Bulba Clockwork, making a comeback here.
Elimination match, backs against the wall. They're turned towards this for him.
I mean, Team Liquid, their motto is dive, dive, dive. Kind of knocked LGD out of their comfort zone. Make sure that you get a lot of early kills, a lot of early tower kills, and of course, LGD will go back to a very defensive support, Jakiro.
So for Liquid, they don't have a Roche lineup. We're not going to see any level 1 Roche shenanigans. It is an elimination match. I thought maybe something like that would be in the offing, but not the case here. They're going to try to beat them.
I mean, it just shows that
fight.
Team Liquid is confident, right? They say, we don't need to cheese you out. We're going to say, we will outplay you with our own game. And this speaks a lot for Team Liquid.
They've given LGD what LGD wants. If they can beat LGD's best, then Liquid is going to be fearsome as we move into the later stages of the lower bracket. The draft complete. The players now selecting their heroes. We're about ready to get underway. Liquid versus LGD China. Best of 1. Loser goes home. Winner stays alive. And here we go.
This is definitely where LGD is at their weakest. In a long series, they are very likely to figure you out, and they could kind of adapt between game to game. But in a best of 1 series, it's like you said, last time we saw 14-0 on LGD. They were playing, best of 3s all the way through. But now they're playing best of 1.
They're out of their comfort zone, but they are still a fearsome foe. Liquid on the Dire side, the hometown favorites. Korok on the gyrocopter. TC on the Razor. Fluff and Stuff, the Crystal Maiden. Boba on his signature clock. Puts IX Mike. Last but certainly not least, the Stash onto the Bane. And on the Radiant side, you've got Team LGD China, the Yao Mag. Probably the best mag in the world, definitely in the discussion. DDC, the Jakiro. Sylar, the Alchemist. Oh my god. DD, the Naga Siren. We'll have Xiao 8, last but not least, the Nature's Prophet.
I think somewhere in the crowd, somewhere in this building, S4 is disagreeing as the son of Magnus.
The son of Magnus. Maybe Ice is the best Magnus. He took S4 down 1v1.
We'll see about that here as Team Liquid going very deep into the enemy jungle, dropping a couple wards. They just want to make sure they have a good start in this offensive trial lane. If you're LGD, I mean, you have a Naga Siren that can go in the front line here with 6 base armor to tank things up. It's hard to initiate on him. Jakiro, he's going to be very far back. Though, with that said, I think Sylar's going to have a very tough time finding too much creeps.
So a small little victory here for LGD. They spotted out Liquid's warding and immediately deward. They did have an observer here, so they saw the rotation. And off the bat, LGD China, they have supports as well as a carry that are great at farming stacks and need a lot of levels. They deward the pull. Small advantage to them already.
So I think with an offensive trialing and a defensive trialing, a lot of times we say, let's look at those trialings. But in fact, I want to turn to our solo lanes. I feel like Boba as well as Korok, just now TC up top, spectacular solo players. But let's see if they can kind of tackle the very veteran Xiao 8 as well as Yao on the respective top and mid lanes.
Yeah, Yao, we saw earlier against S4, he handled himself really well in the laning stage, but where he got punished was once that laning stage broke down. S4 found a solo kill against him. Boba off the bat with the better creep block, and we'll see him probably going for Cogspan, and he unfortunately doesn't get the mana burn. Yao's just going to right-click him.
Wow.
Not a great start for Boba. It's only 1 Cogs. It's not the biggest deal, but generally, Boba said in the past, when you play this matchup, you should be able to win 1v1 against Magnus. You should not need any help.
Yeah, what you want to do is hopefully use those Cogs to get the mana burn off. Make sure that Yao doesn't have too much farm and harass with that shockwave, but as both these players are going to get their Battle Crows really soon, that shouldn't matter too much.
Yeah, you'll notice that Xiao 8 sitting safely at his tower, getting some levels. Prophet's one of the more decent heroes against Razor because he's not going to be able to get in close and steal too much damage. As long as you stay back, you can even use your trance to harass him. So I think this matchup is okay. I would still give the Razor an edge beat on the safe lane, but Xiao 8 should get levels. He should hit a quick level 6. And that's where things could get scary for Liquid. They were not able to shut down that initial pull. The camp has been reblocked. But if you give level 6 to Prophet and the tri-lane's even, then you have to say it's now LGD China's tri-lane to lose.
I absolutely agree. Getting that level 2 on Naga Siren is going to be very important as well. Will allow you to kind of go somewhat aggressive if they dive you too deep. With that said, though, LGD China has a huge creep wave on the bot lane, which means it's going to slowly push towards Team Liquid, and that just means that Sylar is going to have a little bit of tough time farming. With that said, he's actually getting a ton of creep kills.
The warding shenanigans continue. It's really an escalation here from both teams in arms race. They ward, we de-ward, then they ward again. Both teams going at it. There's a Frostbite on DD. They've stunned up Fluff and Stuff. Ice Pad to fly. In comes the nuke, but he's slapped by IX Mike, keeping him alive. The nukes come through. He's not dead yet. Yes, he is. First blood to LGD China. Could there be a turnaround? Nothing in sight, and that's the power of the Nature's Prophet.
That's a bad news for Team Liquid fans out there because you run a fence-up trial lane, you expect to dive, you expect to get kills, but a great TP from Xiaowei as well as a good coordination coming out from LG China. They secure first blood.
It does give them a big disadvantage in this top lane. Now, no boots, the Razor already has his, so TC should have a much easier time zoning Xiaowei out of the lane, but you've just secured your tri-lane. The only thing that's really a persistent issue for them is the camp's been warded again, and it seems like LGD actually know. They've matched Liquid Sentry Ward for Observer Ward every step of the way. They do need a new set of sentries now. Nothing coming just yet.
Yep. So far, LG's pretty happy with their early game so far. Although, with that said, if you see Xiaowei up top, one more hit's going to do the job, and there you go, solo kill from TC. You cannot stress how important it is to pick up these solo kills. It means that Xiaowei cannot come back to lane anymore. TC will slowly harass these towers.
Yeah, he's got a skewer. He's going to pile drive Bulba back into the tower. There's battery assault flowing. There's no mana yet for a Shockwave trying to bottle up the illusions. I think it's enough.
Huge micro from Boba, preventing the bottle up from Yao, preventing that Shockwave from coming out.
Wrap around on the bottom lane. They found Fluff, but they really want Korok. Net to fly. It's a long duration stun. A good sleep from Mike, but Ice Path comes through. Korok low. Korok in a lot of trouble. One more hit. Still running. He's got boots. Sylar does it. He's going to live. Turns it around. There's another nuke to fly. They need one more Ice Path. Jukes, it's not enough. They'll go for the dual breath. Korok does fall. Blow for blow. These teams are just not giving any quarter.
We always say in the past when LG China win games, they often lose the early game and make spectacular comeback. But when this team is winning the early game, that's when they're in their strongest form.
I actually would say it's very even. Sure, the tri-lane's going a bit better for LGD, but they've had to TP their Prophet in twice now. Xiaowei's been driven entirely off the top lane. To be honest, there's phase boots up on TC. He can't really lane top. He can always TP out, but that's just wasted time. So he goes to jungle. TC has a free safe lane farm on Razor. Bulba still doing pretty well mid, didn't die earlier, out-farming the Magnus of Yao slightly. Honestly, I'd say it's pretty even this early on.
It is even right now, but I think actually being even is disadvantaging Liquid. They're having Crystal Maiden, one of the weaker support if you don't win the tri-lane Fluff and stuff, as well as Ix Mike playing well. But if you look at the CM, level 1, what is she going to do without boots, without a magic stick in this kind of tri-lane situation? She might just be food.
Yeah, Extinct was talking about, and Black as well, about how Crystal made one of the strongest level 1 to 2 supports in the game, but if you don't have a good start, then she quickly can turn into food. Like you said, needs the items, at least needs a few levels so she can get points in her aura, because the team is very spell spammy. They can use a lot of that mana to their advantage. And LGD, they've got good AoE here. They're controlling the tri-lane so far. It looks like Liquid will try to secure a little bit more of a backup plan. They'll start stacking the Ancients. They've been doing it for a bit, it looks like. And LGD are not blocking this, so sure you fall behind in the tri-lane, but if your tower's still standing, you can catch up with those Ancients.
Yep. Meanwhile, Xiaowei up top here, slowly working towards his hand Midas. He might pick up something basic like a Boots of Speed, or maybe even upgraded Boots before that.
Don't even be surprised if he rushes a mech. Xiaowei's offlane Prophet has been known to do it in the past.
Yeah, Xiaowei's Prophet starts lower than most other Prophet players, but he really has a huge finish. Look towards him later on in the game, makes huge split push plays, but for now, he'll slow it down here and then jungle a little bit.
So Bulba's level 6. He's got a level 3 battery assault. I'm surprised he hasn't gone for a kill on Yao, but Yao does have RP and there's the threat of the Prophet. I think if there wasn't a Prophet this game and the tri-lane had gone better, we'd see Bulba forcing a 1v1, diving the tower, because even if he skewers and RPs you, if battery assault's going, you can easily kill him. But so far, Yao's just done a masterful job of defending the lane, hasn't gotten picked off, and still keeping up in CS.
Yeah, Bulba needs to somehow kind of bait Yao into his cogs, and then as he skewers out, you hook him to follow him to get that kill. And so far, I really don't think Bulba can hook in, for example, and then set up a kill like that. Yao just have too much HP, and of course with the skewer, he should be okay.
Yeah, for the time being, Bulba going to check the top rune, but it is a regen picked up by Ix Mike. Here comes a rotation from Korok. It looks like Liquid will abandon their tri-lane. Where do they go from here?
I'm not too sure. They're not really too good with pushing with their Crystal Maiden as well as Bane. They're not good at ganking either. It feels like they're a bit lost. It's a teleport up top here with Crystal Maiden. It seems like she's going to pull a little bit, jungle a little bit. She needs experience, and this is how she's going to find it.
And LGD, they're sensing that maybe that tri-lane's missing. They'll place a more aggressive lane ward. So now they know if Liquid have anyone in the lane, this frees up Sylar. Phase boots up. He's taking a point in Greevil's Greed. Generally what we've seen from him is he doesn't max Greevil's Greed. He takes 1 point, he maxes the stun, then he even goes back for Acid Spray. But even 1 point for Greevil's Greed, if you're allowed to free farm, you do have the same bonus gold cap. Eventually you'll be farming just as well.
That's an indication that he's going to be going for a Shadow Blade first. I mean, if you find squishy supports, those are free kills. Courier flying to the secret shop. Is there somebody upgrading Arcane Boots? I think that's going to be Yao's.
Yeah, Arcane Boots up for Mag. Now look towards Yao to try and farm up his Blink Dagger. If Liquid haven't taken a single tower by the time the Blink's up, I think this game gets really difficult for them. Like you said, not great at pushing. They will want some BKBs. Fortunately, TC farming towards his, but Korok's nowhere near one. Only Boots and a Bracer a long way off from a big item that they need to team fight.
I feel like the Chinese teams such as LGD China, IG are very well accustomed to playing a solo mid. Clockwork, maybe Gods has given them a couple of lessons because Boba just can't really find these hooks, can't really find these angles. And it's going to be tough. Once you walk into the mid game with a Clockwork that's not really over